Corky here. Today I'm going to show you a video on this Heart disc cutter from Durston. Let's take a look at what comes with it. So first off, you have a urethane pad. This is going to protect your bench surface or wherever else you might be hammering this. It comes with a tray, so this part holds your cutters and the tool itself, but when you're ready to use it, you're going to lay it right on the urethane pad. You have an Allen key that's going to tighten and loosen the tool. And then, I love this feature. It comes with shims, and in a second we're going to see what they do. But these are various pieces of metal that are going to keep the metal that you insert to cut, in this case I'm going to be doing some sterling silver, nice and even inside the disc cutter. And of course they also have their own lubricant, because when it comes to getting a nice clean cut, you definitely want to lubricate these cutters, and you also want to make sure that you keep them oiled and prevent them from getting rusty. So let's take a look. So here is the tool all laid out. The only other thing we need is a solid hammer. Now, we've placed our tool on the urethane pad, and you always want to make sure that wherever you're hammering, it's a sturdy surface. These disc cutters from Durston can be used with soft materials, gold, silver, copper, brass, up to 1 millimeter thick. That's 18 gauge. So for this example, I'm going to use this 18 gauge piece here, and then 18 gauge is equal to 1 millimeter, and so that's where the shim comes in. And so what we're going to do is, first we're going to make sure that this is loosened. So then we take our Allen wrench and we go counterclockwise to open it up. And we just need to open it up enough so that we can place the shim opposite of where we plan to cut. I'm going to be doing the 10 millimeter heart. So I'm going to place my shim on that side. Now, this is dead soft sheet. I find it extremely helpful if your metal is annealed prior to cutting. Most sheet metal comes in an annealed dead soft state unless you ordered it otherwise. So from an overhead view, I'm going to place my metal in, and then I'm going to make sure that I can't see any of the edges. And then I tighten it. Now, we've seen some incredible tips on this over the years with Metalsmith Society, where some folks, if they're trying to cut a really small piece of metal, they actually tape it to a post-it note, and then the post-it note allows you to move your metal around. That is an awesome tip that I've definitely used. In this case, we're just kind of looking inside there, and if you can see, we can fully see our metal. You also want to think about it like this. If you are cutting out silver, silver is expensive right now. You want to cut it out with as little scrap as possible. For instance, with this piece of silver, it doesn't really matter as much because it's a pretty small scrap, but let's say it was this long and I cut my heart out right in the middle. I'm making the leftovers on either side pretty small. So if that makes sense, always try to optimize where you're punching your metal out. Now, going back to the tightening, which happens clockwise, you don't want to over tighten this. You just want them to be snug. All right, the next step is we take out this lubricant. This is a freshie, so I gotta pop it open. It's kind of like a push pop, but like forbidden push pop. You can't eat this one. And then I just put a little bit of the burr life on the cutter itself. Important side note here, if you have a round cutter, it can be very difficult in a way, if you're picking it up fast, to see which side is the cutting side and which side you hit with a hammer. This, it's very obvious because it's a heart shape. But on my round cutter, they're more like cylinders. You always want to double check when you put this in that you're striking the part that is meant to be hit with the hammer. Super important. Now, you don't want to hit it hard. You want to hit square on and gentle, because these can break. And the other thing I want to show you is, I lied when I said that this was all the tools that you need, because I highly, highly, highly recommend, in general, you should have some ear protection. These are my 3M ear protection. I use them anytime I'm stamping because this is going to make a loud noise. Now that we have everything in place, I'm gonna go ahead and hammer this. Always keep your fingers out of the way. As you can see, I kind of had to work at that, and also my brass mallet was sort of chipping off there because it's softer than the tool itself. Okay, so once I'm here, I usually just lift my tool out, and voila! Here is our heart, and mine has a little bit of Sharpie where I had written that it was 18 gauge.